What is going on, everybody? Once again, we are Tankers Fantasy Football. Thank you so much for joining us. We're getting to the second round of our ADP sessions here. Once again, we had the fireside chats with the Hasbros.
Those sexy Hasbros.
Oh, look at them.
All right, leading off the second round, a guy that I think maybe should be going into that late into the first round over guys like Devontae Freeman, talking about Jay Ajayi. They're talking about getting him the ball more through the air. And, I mean, my goodness, Ajayi is definitely the undoubtable bell cow in this Miami offense.
This guy can easily find his way in the first round, say in a month or two. I mean, in a couple months, this can be outdated. We're talking Jay Ajayi, 7th to 8th pick overall. And he's an absolute workhorse, even more so than the likes of a guy like McCoy and Freeman who are going in the first round. This offense is all Ajayi for the Miami Dolphins.
I mean, I'd definitely still go McCoy over Ajayi just because I think Ajayi's floor is a lot lower if McCoy is on the football field. But I just think Ajayi here at the beginning of the second to the mid-second, I think you can get him there. I think that is good value. And get into another running back who's going to the second pick of the second, we are not in love with.
No.
Talking about DeMarco Murray, and I know where you drafted him last year in that late 4th, early 5th. He won you your league, and he was your sexy boy deluxe, and he won me one of my leagues. But I just can't get on board with him here at that early second round price.
No, I mean, you're looking, I know he's been healthy the last couple of years here, but you're looking at a guy in Derrick Henry who had 5 touchdowns in his last 6 games. They're talking about Murray's still going to be the workhorse, still going to maybe get 60% of the carries. But Derrick Henry still has that potential to make this a true split backfield. And for the second pick in the second round, you definitely want a go-to guy.
I think if anything, you look at Derrick Henry's numbers, he got 5 touchdowns in the last 6 games last season, so I think he's going to start really eating those inside the 5. I think it's going to be all Derrick Henry this year.
Yeah, Murray's definitely going to get the points in the PPR, but for this value, I like to see it more at the turn between the second and third round, and I'm not going to pay the price at the second pick in the second round.
And also another thing, are you wanting to say DeMarco Murray plays a full season back-to-back years? I don't know if I'm on that.
We'll see if it happens.
We'll see out there, but I just think it's too risky there. At that 2-2, I think I'm talking about probably taking the next 3 guys over him that they got listed here.
I think you have to, and I think this guy and Michael Thomas, if I'm at the 11 or 12 spot, I'm serious considering him before any of these other guys, just because I want to lock up Michael Thomas. I think with Cooks out the door and Breeze still at the quarterback, we're talking Breeze guaranteed 4,800 yards, 30 touchdowns. Someone's going to have to get the cheese. Michael Thomas is that man.
I just think there's no way. I just think that if this guy stays healthy, I just think his floor is 1,108 touchdowns. I really do.
Now, we're talking last year's rookie, 90 catches, but 1,100 yards, how many touchdowns did he have? About 10?
Yeah, about
9 to 10 touchdowns
last season.
We're talking that as a rookie. If that's his floor, we're saying if this guy does not get any better, a second-round price is still very nice for that, but I think he's definitely going to exceed in all 3 of those categories this year.
The next guy is that Jordan Howard, who I would also take over DeMarco Murray. I just think Jordan Howard's a guy who could easily sneak up in that tail end of the first around the turn ahead of guys like Devontae Freeman. But Jordan Howard, I know he plays with dog shit Chicago Bears. My goodness, he is the bell cow. He had 700-yard games.
Tied with Ezekiel Elliott last year.
He only had, 24 carries on the season going into week 4, and he had 700-yard games to tie Ezekiel Elliott on the season. My goodness, this guy is everything the Chicago Bears have. They're gonna if they are somehow involved and still in the football game in the second half, this guy is going to absolutely return his draft
And
spot.
even if they're not in the game, that might honestly be a good sign. Getting them dump-offs, get involved with some catches, PPR. All right, next guy, T.Y. Hilton. Out of the 5, this is the 5th guy we're talking about. Out of the other guys, I've seen the most, I think, of T.Y. sliding into that 12 spot in the first round.
Yeah, that's a little scary to me because I just think T.Y.'s touchdown upside is severely capped, and I know his yards are always going to be there. But I mean, if we're talking about first round guys, I think I'm going to need some touchdowns out of you.
I don't think he's ever gone anything more than 7 touchdowns in a season. I think he's pretty consistent between the 5 and 7. But if you're talking a guy like Michael Thomas, who you can chalk up at pretty much 10 touchdowns.
I mean, we're talking 6, 7 touchdowns, then T.Y.'s going to have to be getting into that 1,500 yard range. I mean, which he is very capable of doing.
Hit the 14.
And he has done, but I mean, I don't know. Just if Moncrief can stay healthy, I just haven't really seen.
And Andrew Luck hasn't done anything in 5 to 6 months. We don't even know long term what the health situation is with Andrew Luck.
I mean, I like T.Y. there, and I would take T.Y. over DeMarco Murray, so I'd nudge T.Y. up at least another draft spot here. But I'm just not. I mean, if he's your wide receiver 1, I'm not really in love with it. But I guess at this point, he absolutely has to be. I mean, there's no way you can score T.Y. Hilton as a wide receiver 2 anymore unless you double down on that early play wide receiver 1 in the first and then wide receiver 2 T.Y. in the second.
Yeah, the only way he's going to be the second wide receiver on your team is if you draft, or is if you take a wide receiver in the first round as well. That's the only way. Otherwise, T.Y. is going to be your 1.
Next, Dez, another wide receiver coming in here, and I absolutely 6th pick in the second. I hate it.
I do. You look at, he had 50 catches last year, which means he only had 6 more than Terrence Williams, and he had less than Cole Beasley, and he had less than Jason Witten. We're talking about a second-round pick that was the 3rd most catches on his team, almost the 4th most catches on his team.
I know he missed those 3 games, but he missed like another 3 games for you in the fantasy records because he only had 1 reception in each of those other 3 games I'm just talking about. So basically, he went out there and put up nothing for you in 6 games last season. And I just don't know, Dez. I mean, if we're looking at the guys that are going after him, I'm not saying that these guys are the sexy boy deluxe. But I mean, I'm not really on the Amari Cooper bandwagon. But my goodness, you gotta give me Amari Cooper over Dez right now. And if we're talking a little bit deeper, I might even be talking about throwing darts at guys like Fournette, or maybe even digging into the 3rd round a little bit at guys like Brandon Cooks. Yeah.
I feel like the 2nd round is very scary this year.
The 2nd and 3rd round is some muddy waters this year. It is not sexy town.
I feel like there's about 15 guys in the entire draft that you can feel
There's a lot of downside.
There's about 15 guys in the entire draft that I really feel good about, but guys 16 to 32 range, or even out to 40, those are very high ceiling, very low floor dudes.
Oh, for sure. Now we're getting into, we just talked about Amari Cooper. We're getting to a guy who's fresh out of retirement in beast mode who's just skyrocketing up these draft boards. And I mean, it's getting to a point where it's almost unsavory for me.
It is. When you really think about it, this guy was getting drafted, 4th, 5th round a month or so ago. I've seen him go in the tail end of the 1st round before. We're talking about a guy coming out of retirement. We're talking about before that, the season before, he did not look good at all. And then he was finished the season on IR.
I was dumping all over guys like Devontae Freeman and DeMarco Murray earlier, but you absolutely have to take them over a guy like Beast Mode right there. I mean, especially you haven't even seen him play football yet. I mean, until you've seen the guy play football, how can you get excited? I mean, yeah, we saw that video of him in practice, but he wasn't even wearing pads. I mean, fuck off.
I mean, you can do other sports, take a year off and come back. You can pull Michael Jordan and come back and be who you were. But football is totally different. If you're talking, you're in your 30s at a running back, a punishing position.
I mean, that Oakland offensive line is wonderful.
I mean,
that's the only thing he's really got going for him. Is that offensive line is absolutely wonderful. Probably 2nd best in the league behind Dallas.
It wouldn't shock me one bit if he finished as a top 10 fantasy back, but it would not shock me whatsoever if he finished outside the top 30.
Yeah. I just think that's just a hefty price. I mean, I'd rather take the risk on a rookie in Fournette over a guy like Beastman. Fournette's looking like a man out there, baby. How can you deny the sex? All right, another guy, Todd Gurley, is the next pick in the 2nd round. My goodness, I think I definitely risk the man-child of the rookie Fournette over a guy like Gurley. I mean, Gurley didn't even have a 90-yard game last season.
No.
My God.
Has not had a 100-yard game since like week 14 of the 2015 season.
Yeah.
For the 9th pick in the 2nd round, I feel like the quarterback situation probably isn't getting any better. The weapons around him aren't any better. Teams figured out the St. Louis Rams, I feel like.
I mean, you're talking to me, and you're saying, I mean, I hate drafting quarterback early, but you're talking gun to my head. You're talking Todd Gurley or Aaron Rodgers. You got to give me Aaron fucking Rodgers every single time.
If we're saying halfway through the season, we're saying 8-9, we're saying who's won me more games this year, is it Aaron Rodgers or Todd Gurley? I think hands down it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
That's not even close. Aaron Rodgers all fucking day, and I hate drafting quarterbacks early. But I would definitely take guys like Brandon Cooks that are going in the 2nd round over the likes of Todd Gurley.
Oh, Brandon Cooks is sliding back into the early 3rd. Man.
I'm going to get another guy who is not even my top-ranked tight end who's going here at the tail end of the 2nd, Rob Gronkowski. I just think that's overpaying the price. I think
the back surgery is definitely pumped the brakes on that situation. All right, this guy, if he's healthy... it's stupid. I mean, we're talking, 80, 90 catches, 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns. But
Stan's dad is never going to catch the dragon, and Rob Gronkowski is never going to play 16 fucking games again.
What, 3 back surgeries?
Not happening. It's not happening. 3 back surgeries, my goodness. 3 back surgeries doesn't make your back stronger. That's not a thing.
I mean, if you take ADP into consideration, we're talking Gronk here, where he's getting taken the 10th pick in the 2nd round. We're talking Kelsey who's getting right about the tail end of the 3rd and the very beginning of the 4th. I think you had to take Kelsey all day long. He's the only guy in that offense besides Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill still, I would much more feel comfortable as a wide receiver 2 than a wide receiver 1. And we're talking about no injury concerns at this point.
Yeah, you got to get down that Kelsey, man. I know Kelsey doesn't really get down those touchdowns nearly as much as Gronk. I mean, when Gronk's on the football field, you got to take Gronk all day. But that's just not a thing anymore. You just can't get about it. I mean, Kelsey only had those 4 touchdowns last year, but Kelsey had 600-yard games. That is absolutely absurd for a tight end.
Only behind Julio Jones in a 100-yard game.
Only behind the incredible yard master that is Julio Jones,
who's averaged over 100 yards a game in the last 3 seasons.
Kyle Rudolph has 200-yard games in his fucking career. And we're talking about Travis Kelce had 3 times that many last season. And I'm all in on Travis Kelce, the number 1 tight end. If you're down determined you're going to draft a tight end at the end of the 2nd, you take Travis Kelce.
I mean, even at the 2nd, I don't think you have to pay that. I think you can definitely get Kelce in the 3rd. But if you, for some reason...
You have to do it.
If you are dead set on the Gronk, no matter what, you want that high ceiling, you want that legitimate wide receiver 1 production for your tight end, you have to sneak in and get another top 10 tight end.
You got to get at least a top 15 tight end. You got to sneak in with that bottom end and get yourself...
You got to get a Rudolph. You got to
get... you can tag him up with some Rudolph, for fuck's sakes. I mean, that is a sexy river. I mean, if you can get... I mean, I don't know if that's a thing. If you can even get some Delaney Walker, who is sliding down draft boards considerably since the Eric Decker signing. I mean, if you can get...
Delaney's still going above Rudolph at this point, but we'll see how long that holds on.
That's just fuckery.
I mean, Rudolph is getting absolutely no respect.
Rudolph was the 2nd PPR tight end last year. That's slapping the dick. What are you doing drafting guys that have... Now he's surrounded by younger talent and dudes that are stealing touchdowns like Eric Decker and Corey Davis. And I mean, Eric Decker's not younger, but he's scoring the touchdowns. Corey Davis is younger. We're talking about Delaney Walker, a guy who's had 400-yard games in a season. I don't know.
I feel like his ceiling is definitely capped off.
All right. Back to the
11th pick currently in the 2nd round. We're talking about the 40-year-old looking rookie in Leonard Fournette.
Man, child.
And I feel like his value has slipped a couple picks as of late because there's been so much overhype going on to the point where I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Oh, yeah, this draft spot, you're looking at all these dudes that are going in front of him and right after him, and I just think the upside is just super sexy. I just get all in on it. I mean, they're drafting, road paving tackles out there.
Cam Robinson in the second round. They drafted a fullback.
Who drafts fullbacks? Teams that want to run the fucking football. That's who drafts fullbacks.
If you're talking Doug Marrone, who's an offensive lineman coach who wants to get full-blooded, just absolutely run down your throat, be physical, and he gets a guy like Fournette. I mean, Tom Coughlin is going to be wanting to limit the turnovers, limit the Bortle attempts. Fournette, I think his floor for a rookie is about as safe as it gets out there. I think he's going to be flirting with that RB1 discussion all year. I think we're going to be looking somewhere in the 10, 11 touchdowns for him. And like we said, if he continues to be at this turn between the second to even in the third round...
if this guy was playing on basically any other team but with the Jacksonville Jaguars and starting for him, he'd be going at the tail end of the first, beginning of the second.
Oh, yeah, I mean, this guy is an absolute freak. Look at the film.
Bad motherfucker.
Look at the film in college.
My God.
It's ridiculous.
Talking about high floors, I think the guy who has one of the safest, highest floors. If you want to second down safe, talking about taking him over Dez, talking about maybe taking him over guys like Baldwin. But if you want that high floor, you want it sexy, you want to keep it real, you want some Doug Baldwin out there.
Doug, I mean, he's the only guy that Russell Wilson loves out there. I think he's locked in for that 80 catches minimum.
Oh, 90. I think you got looking at 90, 95 minimal. He's not really that yards per catch guy.
Yeah,
so
he's only going to get you about 1,100 yards.
Yeah, 1,150. He's talking about 8, 9 touchdowns.
Yeah, but very, very safe. And he will have some big games when you need it.
Healthy, too. Very healthy. Always out there grinding for you.
I think he's only missed about one game in his career.
Yeah. Very solid, very safe pick. I know the ceiling is a little bit capped, and I'm not really in love with it. But if you're looking at these guys that are going to the second and third round, you want a safe bet. I don't know. I think Baldwin's your boy.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say get risky.
I mean, look at you guys going directly behind him. You're talking about Hopkins. I'm going to say no. You got to take Baldwin over Hopkins. Talking Cooks, it's okay. You got to take Cooks for the high upside.
Cooks is going to win you weeks. But I still feel like he's going to have that feast or famine where in a season long, it's tough for me to go all in. That's why I feel like his value has slid back into the third round currently, because people realize that, I mean, Drew Brees is still slinging out there.
I mean, Cooks almost had half of his yards last year in 3 games.
I mean, he's going from Drew Brees to Tom Brady. So for me, that's pretty much a wash. And he still had very bad games for you last year.
Getting after that, you get into some serious bums out there. Lamar Miller, who just looked filth garbage last year, and guys like Isaiah Crowell, who's been kind of on the rise, but how are you going to get super about a Brown player? I mean, my God. Then Demaryius Thomas, who have just been, he's kind of been back on the rise in those draft boards, but
he is, Doug Ball.
He's another high floor guy.
D-Train's gone from turn of the 4th to 5th to up to being early 3rd.
He's all over the place in the last month.
All right, so if we're talking first round, or talking second round here, so we got the Ajayi from the 2-1 to the Baldwin to the 2-12. Give me one guy specifically that you really love at that spot and one guy you really hate.
You know, I'm really about where Michael Thomas and Jordan Howard are going. I mean, I think after Michael Thomas and Jordan Howard, and I guess you throw in some T.Y. too, but after that, it gets into some kind of little dicey action out there, unless you're an Amari Cooper lover. I mean, we're talking about guys like Dez and Gurley and Gronk. I mean, my goodness, even DeMarco Murray. I think once it goes Ajayi, Thomas, Howard, and T.Y., I think those should be the top 4 picks in this first round and the second round. I think after that, you get real dicey. It's kind of becoming who you want to get, who you want to risk it with out there.
Yeah, I feel like Michael Thomas is currently going at it'd be the 15th overall player. I think that is actually very good value. Talking about a second round guy who can truly win you a league out there. I mean, I also love the Ajayi going. I think Ajayi is going to be right around the turn between the first and the second round up until
I just can't
draft.
believe Gurley's still going into this mid-second. That's.
I mean, people are still dream weaving.
I mean, you're talking about another gun to the head. Give me the Crow. I'm serious. Give me the Crow over Gurley.
I feel like Crow's
gonna have more fantasy points than Gurley.
I feel like Crow's floor is
right
nicer.
Now, let's talk about that.
I feel like
it's happening.
If the Cleveland Browns can find their way into games where you can feel good about Crow getting at least 10 carries a game, I think Gurley easily is going to have less than the Crow.
Quit pissing around. Let's get some Crow some 18, 20 carries a game. Eating out there.
Maybe that's how they get back in the game instead of slinging it. They've got a very nice offensive line.
There's no reason for the Browns to throw the football at all until they're down by 3 or 4 scores.
Which might happen early and often.
Yeah.
But, I mean, another guy that I'm not feeling it ever. I feel like, I just cannot get in at the second pick in the second round of DeMarco Murray.
No. I think you move him down to me. You talk about moving up Thomas, Howard, and T.Y., and then probably even Amari. And I think I put Murray like right between. I don't even know. I think Murray and Fournette at this point might be a push in my eyes. What do you think?
I feel like I'm willing to take the risk on Fournette than Murray. I feel like Murray's best years are behind him at this point in his career.
I think last year was that last sexy ride when you're like, oh man, that was great. But I think you can't fall in love with that kind of shit because
And I feel like you can't take Des Bryant in the second round.
No.
I feel like if you want to lose fantasy games, you take him. But
you can't do that.
The guy had 50 catches last year. And I know he missed some games, but 50 catches for a wide receiver one.
The ceiling is high, and if anybody can do it, I guess Dez can do it, but I'm just not in love with it at all.
He's just not he hasn't shown me that he's Dak Prescott's boy whatsoever. And we said, he was 6 catches away from being the 4th
maybe that's one thing that could
threat through the air on his own team. So how are you going to draft him in the second round?
Maybe that's one good thing that could come of if Elliott gets suspended out there. Maybe Dak is forced to get some chemistry with Dez. Maybe get a little sexy.
Something to keep an eye on out there. We could see some
good for the Dez show.
We could see some maybe turn of the first round back for the Dez if Elliott's suspended 2 to 4 games.
He'll climb.
Adam Schefter will let us know. We'll see.
The chef, baby, the chef.
I've got faith in him.
All right, people. We love you. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much. We're gonna
subscribe, comment below. You got anything to ask, anything to say? I get back to you because if I'm not sleeping, I get back to you in like half hour. I'm on that shit. Constantly.
All right.
Grinding that workout at 2. I don't give a shit.
You get them alerts straight
I'll
to
get
it.
alerts straight to my phone. Well, if I can get back to you, get damn baby, I'm grinding at work.
We do it for you guys. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. We'll be hitting you up with round 3 coming at you. There might be some fluctuations, but we're definitely not going to talk about the Ajayi through Baldwin again, even if their current status, for some reason, they drop down into there. We're just going to get the guys ranked up right up in there.
Smooth talking, sexy weeding. All right, whatever I said.
See you later.
Later.